guys, welcome back to Anthony's Tennis Hub. My name is Anthony Hirsch, and the first week of the Australian Open just finished up, and I think it might be the craziest first week of a Grand Slam event that I can remember for a long time, especially on the women's side, where 12 seeds, a record 12 seeds lost in the first round, 6 seeds made it to the fourth round, 2 top 8 seeds, in fact 2 top 10 seeds, made it to the fourth round, the round of 16. The top half is in complete shambles on the women's side. As of me recording this video, Noskova, Svitolina, Azarenka, Yastremska, Paulini, Kalinskaya, Zhang, and Dodin. One of those names is making a Grand Slam final. Only one of those names has made a Grand Slam final before. And somebody in this tournament is going to become a multi-major champion for the first time. Unless the winner is Victoria Azarenka, and she hasn't won a major in 11 years, which that would be unprecedented as well. So this event is just, it's complete chaos on the women's side. You do still have Sabalenka, the defending champion, in. You have Coco Gauff in. On the men's side, we've had a different kind of chaos. Listen, I mean, Sinner, Medvedev, Alcaraz, Djokovic are still in. Rublev and Zverev are just in. Rublev beat Minaur yesterday. I want to talk about a few of the quarterfinals that just happened as well, and break those down, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, so many seeds out on the men's side, and it's just been non-stop epic matches. We had 25 set matches in the first round of the Australian Open, which the record before this was 16 5-set matches in the first round of the Australian Open. We had 20, just so many just epic matches all together. Day 5 of this tournament was crazy. We had Casper Ruud and Sasha Zverev just finishing a 10-7 fifth set tiebreaker like 3 minutes apart from each other. We have Medvedev coming back against Ruusuvuori from 2 sets down. So many good matches. I want to talk a little bit about that. And yeah, appreciate you guys joining in. I'll get into a few things, kind of Australian Open. But yeah, the women's side has been just totally insane. The biggest kind of, I guess, when people look at the chaotic first week of the event, the one that I think people will remember the most, if we're talking about matches, it's going to be the Rybakina versus Blinkova match. And it deserves to be talked about. The final set was chaotic. It was high level, 6 breaks traded consecutively, and then neither player being able to win 2 consecutive points against each other. I'll tell you what, it was like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the States, but for whatever reason, I was awake at this time. I couldn't stop watching the tennis, and it was the latest night that I had watching tennis so far. I'll probably have a few on semifinals or finals day, but I was watching it as it happened, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. I was just oohing and awing at Blinkova saving these kind of match points. People talk about the 18-17 point, the tiebreaker, but 12-11 after she had, I believe, after she had about 6 or 7 match points herself. Rybakina gets, I believe, only her second or third. And it's on Rybakina's serve. So a lot of people, including myself, while I was watching, it was like, wow, it's over. Rybakina with a crazy comeback. Blinkova, incredible retrieval. Rybakina hits a huge forehand pretty much right on the baseline. Blinkova playing kind of defense to offense. And then she hits a forehand winner inside out. That is a very difficult shot. The shot kind of lands low and short, and she kind of doesn't really hit it hard and through the ball, but she kind of scoops it up, just pushes it inside out for a winner. Very tough shot to pull off. And she does it for a clean winner in the highest pressure of moments. Then 18-17, point, which is obviously now going to be one of the more famous points in Australian Open history, maybe, or at least for this decade, which is Blinkova just running all over the court and just retrieving shot after shot. And I don't know why Rybakina honestly didn't come into net a few times during this rally, but there are very few things to pinpoint about the match that didn't make it that crazy. Like, the match was crazy, and it was just, in terms of Blinkova, I mean, it was really kind of the best match she played, I would say, in her lifetime. It was like the match of a lifetime kind of situation. And it was also the upset of the tournament to that point. So no matter what you say about it, it was just really good from Blinkova, who played so aggressive throughout on the back end. She was really keeping up against Rybakina's. There are very few things to nitpick, but I mean, Rybakina's first serve percentage was at 61%. She was only winning about 48% of second serve points. That's something I said in the last video talking about the Australian Open is that that's something that Rybakina will need to get her percentage up when she plays a top player or a very high-level player. And Blinkova, like I said, played just the absolute kind of match for life. Blinkova's fight determination, her defense, her shot making, just the aggression as well. She was kind of hitting Rybakina off the court. She was up a set and a break. Rybakina kind of stole the second set, and then an absolute roller coaster in the third set. And you could argue at times Blinkova could have been a little bit more clutch up her match points, and Rybakina at times could have been, but it was really just high level from both to really keep the match going. Crazy fight from both, and there's very little to nitpick as it was an incredible showcase of tennis now, and it was really such a fun match to watch. And Blinkova played so aggressive and really kind of hit Rybakina off the court, which was so fun to see. And it was just her determination, and I love to see it in the second round. Very few things they can compare it to with the players just trading match point after match point against each other. And then also Swiatek went out in the third round as well. The round after that, she also had a crazy match against Danielle Collins that I want to talk about as well. Swiatek actually, for the first set and a half, it felt like Noskova really wasn't overpowering Swiatek that much. Noskova wasn't doing that well on serve, although Swiatek is a great returner. There's a lot of deuce games. Noskova was still playing impressive tennis, but didn't seem like the upset alert was on that big of a didn't seem like there was that big of an upset alert. But then there was a big hold at 3-3 that I felt like really acted as a big confidence boost for Noskova. And then Noskova just started playing some incredible kind of defense to offense, like slicing it, but then just hitting huge forehands, smashing that forehand everywhere, even from tough positions, neutral positions, which is such a skillful thing to do off the back end as well. Such a skillful player, and really took the match, which is so impressive. Such a sign for things to come for a player who's so overlooked. There's so many Czech players on the tour. There's so many young Czech players on the tour. There's so many young players on the tour altogether coming up at the moment. She got completely overshadowed. People like to overlook her, but she's such a talented, big-hitting player. And I knew she was going to get a win eventually. I'm glad that was as big a win as this to propel her right away into the eyes of everybody on her, because so skillful. Really, the defense to offense in this match was crazy against Iga, Iga's who we know as the defense to offense player. She kind of out-Iga'd Iga. And just so good. And Swiatek, just while I'm on the topic of Swiatek, a lot of people were thinking, hey, Iga might have a comeback in the second round, then go on to win the whole Australian Open. I was still kind of saving that kind of thought, because I still knew Iga had a tough draw. And last year at the majors, Iga wasn't the most consistent player, to be honest. She lost fourth round of Australian Open, she lost fourth round of the U.S. Open to Ostapinko. I still feel like that's something that maybe now we could be a little bit more worried to think that Swiatek, outside of Roland Garros, might be the most consistent player at the majors in terms of going super deep, because that's not something that I think we've seen for the most part so far in her career. So we'll see if she can step it up in that way, but the draw was always going to be difficult. She had a great comeback against Danielle Collins, though. In her second round match, she was down a break in the first set. Collins just playing just absolutely amazing right away. Swiatek broke right back at love, though, and then she kind of stole the first set, but Collins was just so kind of rock solid and determined, and just so kind of stone cold, wasn't even showing that much emotion, getting down on herself. She got right back, same position, 3-1 up with a break in the second set, then she went 5-1 up, double break in the second set. Very dramatic long games at 5-1, 5-2. Swiatek on return, just saving set point after set point. Collins finally somehow finished it off at 6-3. And then the third set, right away, Collins was like, you know what, I'm taking this. I'm keeping this going. She was looking so confident, a screamer of a backhand cross-court winner. Went up 2-1 with a break, and then she went up 4-1 with a break. The Collins forehand just hitting so big, Swiatek kind of shanked a forehand wide. But after that unforced error, Swiatek basically just stopped hitting unforced errors, and she made Collins work for it, and Collins just didn't have it. And she got broken out love against Collins, and then Iga just started playing so well. An incredible comeback, an incredible match point as well. after a match point on Iga where she kind of missed the volley after she had an easy smash put away, and but it went to advantage, and Swiatek with a backhand down the line winner, and she pulls off an incredible upset over the player Collins, who beat her at this tournament 2 years before. Collins' offense, it seems like Swiatek can struggle against a player like this, like Collins, like she lost to Ostapinko. There were a lot of parallels between the two, so I think Swiatek can get a lot of confidence from beating the player who beat her here at the semis 2 years ago in pretty dominant fashion. Collins always seems to play incredible at the Australian Open. I mean, she lost to Rybakina last year in 3 sets. She lost to Swiatek this year in 3 sets. She's made 2 semifinals here. She's made a final here. Like I said, beating Swiatek on the way. She has a 75% win record at the event. That's actually equaling with Iga coming into the match. So Collins seems to play great. It was sad to see that Collins is retiring. She announced her retirement right after this match. Who knows if we would have gotten that announcement had she won, but you just had to think during the match, man, how is Collins even going to come back from this? This was such a good opportunity. And Iga, just with a stunning comeback, kind of reminds me of Wimbledon. Iga coming back against Bencic there, but just losing in the next round to a tough player in Svitolina. So tough luck for Iga, but still that win could give her confidence at the Australian Open the same way I think that win against Bencic could give her confidence at Wimbledon. We'll see if she can pick it up at majors outside of Roland Garros. Obviously, she does already have that US Open victory in the bag, but at this point, I'm not going to say huge kind of worry signs for Swiatek at the majors, but I will say that now she'll be looking to, now that there's been a little bit of a pattern, she'll be looking to step it up and going consistently more deep at the majors, in my opinion, outside of RG. Roland Garros, it seems like she's just way on another level than everybody, just so consistently. But yeah, those were a few things on the women's side, and I mean, just going through all the seeds I've kind of lost on the WTA side. I mean, Swiatek, Rybakina, Pegula, Jabeur, Vondrousova, Sakari, Hadidmaya, Ostapinko, Samsonova in the first round, Kudermetova, Garcia, Khachanov, Alexandrova. I mean, all these players, we're not even in the 4th round yet. I mean, we haven't completed the 4th round. So it's just crazy. Gauff and Sabalenka's semifinals could kind of act as a little bit of the final in some regards. I'm not going to say that a player like Svitolina isn't going to be very tough to beat. Zhang has a very high peak level. Azarenka's in the top half, who's won this tournament twice, and she's playing great. So it's not necessarily going to be, but if we get it, I do reckon that, well, first of all, it will be an epic match. I mean, Coco is playing so well at the moment, and she's going to be determined trying to win her 2nd major in a row. As a teenager, that would be insane. But Sabalenka's forehand would just look absolutely impeccable against Anisimova. I mean, there was a rally in the first set where they just traded forehand rallies at hyperspeed, and then Sabalenka just with a half a second notice just completely changes direction for a clean winner inside out. And just the forehand throughout the match was way too big for Anisimova. And Anisimova didn't seem like it was at her best, but even if she was, I mean, Sabalenka's level in that match was absolutely ridiculous, serving so well as well. With the serve, then +1 forehand, and the backhand was good too, but the forehand was one of the best forehand performances I've seen from Sabalenka throughout that match. And it was all about first strike tennis, and Anisimova hitting some unforced errors off the first strike, going big as well, but Sabalenka mostly just off the first strike, just way too big for Anisimova to get into any of these rallies. So really good from Sabalenka, who was also switching up off the forehand, just hitting everywhere, and it was just so solid from Saba. But Sabalenka and Gauff, I feel like Sabalenka's motivations in that match would be huge to get revenge from Coco over the US Open, to defend points from last year's Australian Open, and I think Sabalenka's motivations would be huge, and forehand, I'm more confident in Sabalenka unless Gauff delivers a performance like at the US Open, just absolutely maximizes her game and looks as motivated as she will there, but I would bet on Sabalenka if we do get it. In the top half, my pick is Svitolina for the final, but like I said, Zhang has a high level. Kalinskaya and Paulini are 2 players that I like a lot. We'll see how they can do. Yemströmska as well, but I bet that Azarenka might be too tough. But Svitolina is tough, and listen, once she gets to the final, Svitolina, if she can manage that, her finals record is ridiculous. She basically doesn't lose finals. She won't want to play Gauff in the final, though she lost her in the Auckland final earlier in the year, but 17-4 in finals is Svitolina. And 2 of the finals she's lost to were WTA Elite Trophy final and WTA finals final to Barty and to Kvitova. So not particularly easy ones there. Also to Radwanska in the other one. So Svitolina is incredible in finals. I mean, just absolutely absurd. Anyway, that's kind of what that's looking like up there in the draw. And then talking about the men's side, Djokovic had a few early tests against Dino Prismic and against Popyrin, but both were 4 sets. I would say particularly Prismic, for me, pushed Novak to such an extreme. Popyrin, I always felt like Novak was going to come back, but Prismic was kind of an anomaly. He pushed Novak to past 4 hours. He was winning the rallies against Novak. I mean, this is a guy who looked completely fearless out there. Even towards the end of the match, when it looked done, he saved 6 match points. Shout out to Prismic. This is a good athlete. This is a great kind of young prospect, so I hope we see more of him. I do hope we see more of him, because this is the kind of performance he's not going to be able to escape. People will always probably connect him with this performance, at least for a few more years, but and probably forever as his kind of breakthrough performance. But I hope he can add more to the catalog and kind of still have a lot more kind of wins and good performances connected to him, because he has a lot of upside for a young player, as long as he kind of keeps working. But yeah, Djokovic after that, though, breezed through his last few matches against Mannarino. He almost triple-bageled Mannarino. He was up 6-0, 6-0, 1-0. Mannarino was tired from 3 tough 5-set matches. He was down 2-1 to break down against Wawrinka, and then Wawrinka started physically struggling a little bit himself in the first round. So he's had a few tough ones, beat Shelton in 5 sets the round prior. So he was too tired for Novak. I'm actually excited to see how Fritz will do against Novak. And speaking of, let me talk a little bit about the kind of quarterfinal matches that happened on the men's side yesterday. So Fritz played one of the best matches I've ever seen him play against Tsitsipas yesterday at the Australian Open. 2 years ago, I watched him play Tsitsipas, and the first time that Fritz had made the 4th round of a major. It was amazing to me back in 2022 that Fritz had never reached the 4th round of a major, but 5-set match 2 years ago, and I felt like Fritz played really well, just wasn't as used to the moment, kind of went away in the 5th set. Here, he didn't go away at all, not throughout the whole match. In fact, he had chances to even go 2 sets to love on Tsitsipas, but Tsitsipas played a great kind of stole the 2nd set, but Fritz did not go away one bit, and he had 50 winners to just 19 unforced errors. He had 70% of his first serves in. He won 86% of his first serve points. His backhand, he was sitting through it incredible. His backhand down the line was amazing, the way he was redirecting on that shot. In fact, to go up 4-3 in that final set, he hit a great backhand return of serve down the line, and then he had a great drop shot off of Tsitsipas slicing back that return close to the net, and then he put away a volley. So everything coming to play there. He was looking so quick out there too. The forehand was big. I mean, these are 2 players that kind of struggled a little bit towards the second half of last year. Big forehand, big serve. They can struggle a bit on the backhand. That shot can break down a bit, especially playing some top guys and big hitting guys. But everything was kind of working for Taylor. He was looking confident. This is a guy I'm constantly defending, is Taylor Fritz. I picked him to end well inside my top 10 for the year-end rankings, and this is a guy who I think is skilled. I think he's got a good winner's mentality on him. He's so hardworking out there. I've said it before, but this is a guy who at the start wasn't looking that fast on the court, moving around the court, but he's improved that a lot too, which is really one of the hardest things to improve is the speed, but Fritz did that, and I think this guy was quite skillful. We saw that in that match. He looked almost in the zone, to be honest, and they asked him about the Djokovic match after the match, and listen, he said that before the Tsitsipas match, he was confident he was going to win it. Against Novak, he didn't say, I'm going to beat Novak, but he said, listen, I'm going to give him my all. And I think that he's going to be a test. I'll say that. I think that he can be a test for Novak. I still definitely have Novak winning, but Taylor is tough, and I think people kind of underestimate Taylor and his huge forehand, and he's working hard in every other part of his game to get the most out of it. So I think that, I've said for a while that I think Taylor is going to do more than a lot of people give him credit for. Even on clay courts last year, he was playing well, but especially on hard courts and on grass courts, I think he has a lot of potential. I think he's going to have some good runs on the grass courts this year, and let's see what all happens. The Jannik Sinner match was the best straight sets match of the tournament. It was amazing. Neither guy really coming to net very much, but they were hitting amazing rallies from the back. And it wasn't just 2 guys just absolutely smashing the ball back and forth, although It was a bit of that, but it was also a bit of kind of grinding rallies as well. Both guys hitting great forehands. And it was a really good show from Sinner, who struggled against high-level top guys at this rounds of the majors before. And not just to win the match, but to win it comfortably in straight sets. A guy playing as well as Karin. It was really, really, really crazy. Because Karin, Khachanov wasn't playing badly at all. But Sinner had a really quick kind of start in the match. He went up, I believe, 4-1 the first set. Then Karin was trying to break back and ended up being 6-4. There, Sinner's serve was one of the only few problems that I can name in the match. He made, let me remember, he didn't make a whole lot of first serves in. I believe he made 51% of his first serves in. And Karin had tons of chances to break Sinner's serve. He went 1 for 10 on his breakpoint chances. He never went to break up on Swiatek, but the rallies were just unbelievable. And at 5-5 in the second set, one of the biggest moments of the match, it was 30-15, and they played an amazing rally. Sinner defending, a bit of an awkward rally, some shanks as well, but both guys just going back and forth at it. Sinner was saying after the match, kind of like ping pong. And then Sinner hits a great forehand cross-court angle, and Khachanov hits one of the shots of the match, which was a forehand down the line, split out on the baseline. Absolutely massive. And looks like Khachanov might go up 2-1. He'll definitely have his chances. Then Sinner, almost out of nowhere, hits a lot of winners and climbs back out of that game out of nowhere and breaks Khachanov with a forehand down the line winner himself. Kind of a capitalization on the super high level that both of them were showing. I was thinking that while I was watching the match, if you were to show a junior player how to play a high level rally from back to court, you could show them this match. Like, this is just exciting from the fact that we could see this high of a level, and the fact that Sinner could do it in straight sets really shows that Sinner's somebody to be afraid of. He will want to make more first serves in. Give Karin give his opponents less chances on the return, especially as he plays better and better opponents. But listen, I'm very excited about Swiatek in this tournament. This was a big win for him at the majors. And I don't know if a lot of people will credit this win. Like, I think that this win might go forgotten, especially because it was straight sets, but it was tough. Shout out Karin. He's tough. He's tough at the Australian Open too. In this round last year, he went up 6-0, 6-0, 2-0 on Nishioka at the Australian Open here in the fourth round. So the guy made the semifinals last year. Karin can be tough and play well here. Took a set off Tsitsipas last year. And he was playing tough in this match. Sinner just forehand way too big for Karin. And everything Karin could do, Sinner could do just a little bit better. But tough match. And the fact that it was so physical, at times it was so tight and so mental, but the fact that Sinner could still finish it off, even despite the long rallies, how well Karin was playing, to beat a seed, like I said, in the fourth round, big win for Sinner at a major. So those were two of the matches, and then de Minaur taking on Rublev was definitely a crazy match as well, and de Minaur actually hit more winners throughout the match than Rublev, but Rublev just generally a little bit too good with his power. The forced errors was way more for de Minaur than for Rublev, so that was kind of a big thing that kind of tilted the match, I think there. But it was super tight. The contrast of styles was crazy. They had some incredible points. De Minaur seems like a completely transformed player. But sometimes they're kind of comparable though, despite the kind of contrast that they have, because Rublev is an all kind of offense player. De Minaur sometimes is just thought of as kind of the speedster of the court, very defensive player. But sometimes the question is Rublev's all offensive game effective enough against the top guys? Because is it just him kind of smashing forehands, or does he have more variety to kind of add into his game? And all of these, this the kind of questions that are asked of Rublev. Then when you were talking about de Minaur, you ask him, can he really overpower the top guys, or is he more just a defense and speed? Can he get enough depth on the defense? Is his defense actually effective enough hitting through the court? But both of them, I think, in this match showed that they do have the effective games for it. And it was just an absolute epic of a 5-set match with great rallies, and Rublev getting it done 6-0 in the last set. De Minaur kind of just running out of legs, but I'm glad de Minaur got into the top 10 because he is a top 10 tier of player, And we'll see how long he can stay, but he's been playing amazing, best tennis of his life, so I'm very excited to see it for Minaur. We'll see how Andre can kind of solve the quarterfinal problem, but the first week of this event has just been so crazy, and the cherry on top, I talked about the Rybakina Blinkova match, I talked about the Swiatek Collins match. The cherry on top was day number 5, which might be the craziest day I've personally watched at a major in my lifetime. It's certainly up there. There were a couple days towards the start of the 2013 Wimbledon event where they were just upset central. Like Nadal going out, Federer going out. I remember that event was crazy on the women's side as well. But this day 5 had to be one of the craziest days of tennis I've seen. I mean, Stevens beat Khachanov in a very tight 3-set match. Noskova went 3 sets, Navarro went 3 sets, Azarenka went 3 sets, Borges beat Fokina in 3 sets, which is just so unexpected. He would then beat Dimitrov, so Borges has been playing amazing. He's playing Medvedev next. But Fokina was the only player on the men's side to lose a set in that whole day, and he is a seed. He was the only ATP player to lose a set that whole day, and that was a second round day. Nearly every match was extended. The crazy thing as well about day 5 of this event was everything was happening at the same time. Even if you tried to, you weren't able to catch everything that you wanted to, everything that was going on. You were lucky if you caught even half of the kind of crazy things going on at once. The Zverev and Ruud matches finishing within 3 minutes of each other throughout the 4th and 5th sets. It seemed like their scorelines were pretty much the same. There are a lot of similarities between the two matches, kind of unseeded guys testing out Ruud and Zverev, whether it was Klein or whether it was Purcell. In the Ruud match, it was actually Purcell who hit 93 winners and 65 errors is what the stat sheet says. And he was playing an incredible level, very kind of aggressive, but the thing was he only converted 1 out of 13 break points, so Ruud just played the big points better. But even towards the end of the match, I mean, Ruud was up, I think, 7-1 the match tiebreaker, and Purcell nearly came back and crawled back. In the Klein match was a very different story in like a different way. For most of the match, it was actually Klein who seemed to be playing the big points better than Zverev. And Klein hit 80 winners throughout the match. Zverev was kind of lucky to even like hang tight and stay close with Klein for most of the match. And then he pushed it to a 5th set tiebreaker. Klein had chances to kind of put it away, but in the 5th set tiebreaker, it was just one volley on the biggest point of them all, right into the net. That kind of gave Zverev a mini break right at the end of the tiebreaker, tight as it gets. And it was just that one big point that kind of separated the two, and Zverev got the lead and took the match. But, yeah, I mean, Zverev just hanging in close. Klein, for the most part, just playing a sensational match. And just right at the end there, just one bad volley into the net where he had an open court. And, sometimes that's just what it comes down to, one clutch moment. But yeah, both of them kind of pulling out their matches. Casper lost yesterday, though, as well. Casper lost to Cameron Norrie. So it was a little bit disappointing for Casper. It'll be Zverev versus Norrie. And there are just a lot of these men's matches still look like they could be good, that are to come as well, whether it's Zverev Norrie or whether it's Kazal versus Hurkacz, or Sinner versus Rublev, and then obviously potential semifinals between Alcaraz and Medvedev, Sinner Djokovic. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially with Sinner and Alcaraz seeming to like these courts as well as they are at the moment. Sinner is the only guy who hasn't dropped a set yet. In fact, he was the only man in the 4th round to not lose a set, which is very rare for a Grand Slam tournament. At one point, it was only Jannik Sinner and Nuno Borges, even in the 3rd round, for being the only players to not lose a set. Anyway, Sinner is playing fantastic, and we'll see how he can pair up against Djokovic if that does end up being the semi there. But day 5 for the men's side and the women's, just non-stop, just chaos. But on that part, it was amazing to watch, and one of the most high-level, amazing, chaotic, overwhelming, and just overall fun days of tennis you'll see for a long time. Like I said, the Swiatek comeback against Collins, which was just absolute drama. It was so tense. Rybakina versus Blinkova, which is as tense as it comes as well. And Norrie came back from 2 sets love down. Rune lost to Artur Kazal, who's a guy I've been excited about for a while. Very talented, all-court, kind of aggressive player. Pegula lost pretty easily as well. I mean, it was just like, it was just storyline after storyline that was just so unexpected all around. Pegula losing to Burrell 6-4, 6-2, I think hitting less than 10 winners after the season she had last year, so we hope that she doesn't have a step down in her results, but it seems like that could be the case. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how the tournament kind of keeps unfolding. The same storylines on the men's side are kind of the same storylines. One of the big ones was Dimitrov, but he went out to Borges, which was another disappointing kind of result for Dimitrov, who really hasn't had a loss like this since kind of the end of 2022. All throughout 2023, he was kind of losing to the top guys when he was losing. And it's a bit disappointing. It's a bit disappointing to see him have such a letdown of a performance when it counts. And at this point, I think that this may have been my last time to predict that Dimitrov gets to the semifinal of a major to have a big run like this. If he does it, I think it would be great for tennis, but it would be just so hard to predict because it just feels like sometimes he doesn't step it up when the pressure is on him, or he doesn't step it up when he's playing in a big match against the top guy. So we'll see how he can do. On the women's side, I mentioned Azarenka earlier. If she is able to do another huge run at a major, this might be the shot for her to be able to do it. She did reach the U.S. Open final in the pandemic year in 2020. So she did have that, but she hasn't reached an Australian Open final since 2013. Hasn't won a major since 2013, but she plays great at the Australian Open. At the Australian Open, in general, Azarenka's made 24 second weeks of majors, 24 fourth rounds. 11 of those have now come at the Australian Open. So she loves Australia. It was obvious the times that she won it. What a story that would be. But we'll see if it's Svitolina, if it's Azarenka, or even if it's a player like Zhang, a much younger player trying to reach her first major semifinal or first major final, even trying to reach her second major quarterfinal will be her second in a row. And then, yeah, that Gauff Sabalenka match on the bottom could be crazy. Krejcikova also lingering there as well, so you never know with Krejcikova. But yeah, that's kind of been the event so far. And I'll kind of reach out for not just the next podcast, but throughout the week when I feel like talking about different stuff. But we've had a lot of good matches this week. Another really good one was the Alcaraz taking on Sonego, which was only 4 sets, but that was one of the more fun matches I've seen on the men's side. Great shot making from both. Sonego serving so well, especially in the second set. Both players playing really kind of low percentage games, but it made some absolutely incredible shot making. I think we had about 5 tweeners, 5 around the net shots in that match. Sonego, I think, hit a 130 miles per hour forehand, inside in, right off the rise at his feet, just kind of one swing at it. I've never seen a shot like it. And it was just an absolute bullet through the court. It was just a match of great shot making. One of the more fun men's matches I've seen recently. And then, yeah, on the men's side today, we've got Borges versus Medvedev, Kazal versus Hurkacz. And then, yeah, Noskova taking on Svitolina. So who knows? Whoever wins that might get to the final. It's a really open top half on the women's side. So I'll reach out as the tournament keeps progressing. I'll be here next Friday for the podcast. I'll try to drop this on Friday. This one came out a little bit late, but I will be dropping stuff at some points throughout the week. So make sure to tune in for that. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you enjoyed it as well. I've been Anthony Hirsch, and I'll see you guys for the next one, for the next Anthony's Tennis Hub podcast.